In this eye-opening video, we're bearing it all, sharing our personal journey, the ins and outs of expenses we encountered, and our ultimate goal of shedding light on the financial side of this incredible adventure. But before we jump right into the numbers, just a quick heads up. We are not financial advisors, but we believe that transparency is key to helping fellow South Africans plan their move with confidence. Our aim today is to give you an honest look at the costs we face so you can set up a solid budget and financial strategy before stepping onto Kiwi soil. From visa fees and accommodation expenses to the unforeseen costs that caught us by surprise, we're laying it all out on the table. Trust us, having a clear understanding of what lies ahead can make all the difference in your journey towards a new life in New Zealand. So, if you're ready to unravel the mysteries of the financial side of immigrating to New Zealand, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and let's embark on this enlightening journey together. So, let's start at the beginning. In July 2022, we made the decision to move across the waters to New Zealand. Our first step was to register Inge for the New Zealand Teaching Council. And in order to do that, she had to write the IELTS test. The IELTS test cost about 4,500 Rand, and the Teaching Council registration worked out about 7,500 to 8,000 Rand. We waited about 3 months for her registration to come through, so the next step was to find a job. In November 2022, Inge got a job offer and we had to do our medicals. That worked out around 3,800 for the two of us. We decided to apply for our work visas on our own without the help of an immigration advisor, which was actually not that bad. All you have to do is just read the immigration website, and I'm sure you'll also be able to do it yourself. It will save you a lot of money. Our work visas cost around 15,000 Rand for the two of us. The next step, after we received our visas in January 2023, was to buy our flight tickets. Now, we were living in Dubai, so our flight tickets was from Dubai to Auckland, and because it was short notice, we paid 73,000 Rand for the two of us. We flew from Dubai to Sydney, from Sydney to Auckland, and our tickets were quite expensive. We are aware of people in South Africa paying a little less, but for us it worked out 73,000 Rand. Your biggest expenses are not actually getting yourself into New Zealand. The biggest expenses come after you arrive, and a lot of people don't realize this, and us included. So just a tip here, make sure you bring a lot of extra money with you when you come. Don't expect to just wait for your first salary and then pay for things, because you will run into a bit of trouble. Your first biggest expense will be your Airbnb. So don't come to New Zealand expecting to find accommodation in the first month. We were lucky to find an accommodation, a flat in the first month, but you have to budget to book yourself into an Airbnb for at least 2 weeks. That worked out around 15,000 Rand for the first 2 weeks, and you have to book that before you arrive in New Zealand, so keep that in mind. In the first few days after arriving in the country, you will need to buy a car. And this is something to keep in mind. Obviously, it depends on the type of car you buy and how much you can actually spend. We bought a hybrid Toyota Aqua, which cost around 150,000 Rand. After you have spent some time in New Zealand navigating the accommodation journey, when to look at some places, you will see that it will take some time to find the right accommodation, but we were lucky enough to find accommodation after a month. So keep in mind that in order to secure your accommodation, you will need to pay a deposit, and they call it a bond in New Zealand, which is usually 5 weeks worth of rent. That worked out about 30,000 Rand for us. With that said, you will also need to buy furniture. you will first need to buy a bed, obviously, a fridge, and all those things. And for us, we budgeted about 50,000 rand for that, and that is like basic stuff, a TV. You can get away with cheaper if you go to op shops or buy secondhand, but we didn't want to buy secondhand, so we just went to the warehouse, bought online. So yeah, you can budget about 50,000 rand for that to be safe. That was our biggest expenses. So after I think 3 months, we got in touch with an immigration lawyer because we wanted to apply for residency as soon as we could. So I'm going to add this to the list because obviously the goal is to stay in New Zealand long term, and in order to do that, you will need to get onto a residency visa and away from the work visa to get a lot of extra benefits. We got in touch with an immigration lawyer, and in order for us to apply for the residency, I had to write my IELTS test in New Zealand, and that also cost around 4,800 rand. The immigration lawyer fee was 32,000 rand, and this is all converted from the New Zealand dollar, so give or take like 32,000 rand. The residency visa application itself worked out about 52,000 rand, and then before that, Inge had to get her degree assessed in New Zealand to make sure that it's on level 7, which needs to be if you want to apply for residency, and that also worked out about 6,000 rand. So to put this into perspective, a lot of people ask me, Ria, how much did you actually spend to get into New Zealand, and how much does the immigration journey actually cost? So if you actually count all of our expenses over the last 6 months or the last 8 months, and you include your residency, because that is actually part of your immigration journey, you can't really say that you immigrated with a work visa, because then you're just an expat. The goal is to get residency, so that's why I included this in the total. So our total in rands came to about 445,000 rand. Obviously, depending on the size of your family, it will be more or less, but we are just 2 people. So I would say try to budget at least 500,000 rand. Remember, knowledge is power, and we're here to make sure you're powered up for your exciting move to the land of the long white cloud. Don't forget to stay tuned for more incredible content, more stories, and more real-world insights. Until next time, keep dreaming and keep believing.